And I'll try to keep dropping it every so often. But the agenda is dropped in the chat. So if you open it, you'll be able to follow along. There's also links in there for you to check out for later. No need to. You don't have to do them right now unless you want to. But we'll just be following this, and then typically we have open discussion towards the end. Feel free to answer the thought-provoking question or any questions about the resources, GSUS chapters, anything that comes to mind.
Did I lose sound or is there no sound?
No, I just stopped talking.
Okay, just checking.
Oh, so I think we do have two volunteers for notes. We have BX and Sasha also volunteered to take notes. So thank you all both. Typically, it may be a lot more stuff to jot down towards the end once we get to open discussion. A lot of this stuff is we're just gonna run through the resources and whatnot.
Nice to see you all introducing yourselves in the chat. You're welcome to do that, and you're welcome to, talk amongst yourselves while during the presentation too. And if you have questions and stuff, you can write them in, and we'll try to keep an eye on it and answer questions as we go. But just since there's so many of us, it's usually a little easier if we just keep it that way for the first part, and then we'll do the open mic stuff towards the end. Yeah, the chat is yours. Feel free to say hi to people, see if there's anyone in your area. If you want to share a little bit about what brought you here, or what things you'd like to contribute to the group. We love hearing that, and yeah, it's great to get people starting to know each other and know who we're working with. Because yeah, we got a lot of stuff we want to do, and it'll be easier if we know what our friends' skills are and what they can bring to the table, and what sort of passions they have for helping in this movement too. All right, Day, should we get started?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna go over the resources, but Dalian or Sasha, if you all have anything to input or chime in, you can feel free to go ahead. Um, so just starting off, most of these resources can be found within our link tree. So that's also attached here. I do know the welcome packet was recently put on a web site as well, so that's definitely helpful. But these resources have been crafted by the collective members inside the Discord and members outside the Discord as well. So just starting off, we do have a code of conduct. It's mainly for the Discord, but as we say, we hope that you all check it out and possibly implement some of these skills, practices in your everyday lives, as they do help. There's some links in there for like de-escalation and things like that. How to deal, if you're in a conversation that you don't really feel comfortable having and things of that nature. Also in a Discord, if you're in that situation, you can always add a moderator. We're here to help. We typically respond within a good time frame, and we'll help sort it out and try to bring some order to the situation. But it's basically straightforward. Uh, the golden rule: treat others how you like to be treated. And I also say the block button is very helpful. It's going to be a lot of people in here, and we're not going to get along with everyone. And that's the good thing that we don't have to. We resonate with who we resonate with, and keep the bigger picture in mind. And so moving forward, we're going to talk about the welcome packet. The welcome packet is an interactive document that's going to evolve as we continue, as we try new things. Some things may not work, or we may want to include new things. It's always going to develop and evolve as we go. But currently, it's a great way to share with your friends about the visions, strategies of the General Strike US. It may answer a lot of your questions regarding the strike card, the regional chapters, and so on and so on. And you can also find that link within the agenda as well. And so we also have our resource and skills form. Now you will find this also on the main link tree. But the resource and skills form is a great way to make connections with local groups. Even if you're out and you have like a friend and they have certain skills, resources, and they want to contribute, tell them to fill out the resource and skill form. Basically, we know we have the solutions. There's a lot of groups out there already doing the work, and we possibly always don't want to. We shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. And this is part of our outreach and coalition building. It helps strengthen, you know, us within our coalition to organize our resources and skills. It's basically straightforward. We use it a lot during our coalition meetings, especially when we have potential partners. That are there and sharing what they do, what services, what they advocate for, and things of that nature. All right, so moving forward, this is the good stuff. Additional resources. So a lot of these, once again, is a collective effort. We have the GSUS structure chapters. It goes into how we structure ourselves, sociocracy circles, it gives definitions, it goes into the cell model. Once again, we're always testing, trying new things out. What may work for one community may not work for the next community. So we have the opportunity to try new things, develop new things, see if it works, and take the best from something and try to create something new with it. Currently, I just got an ad from moderator. Um, Currently, this structure helps us stay true to decentralization, diversity, and dissent as well. You also find a list of GSUS chapters and social media pages. So we have been growing. There's been a lot of people stepping up, speaking out, willing to start chapters in their area, or just willing to start social media pages as a great start, just to get the awareness out about this movement in their local community. If you're interested in doing so, please DM us, or you can email info@generalstrikeus.com. You'll also find our outreach guide, which has templates and also an outreach tracker within it. The outreach guide purpose is basically to help people do what it says, do outreach with local groups. It can be, whatever you're passionate about. If you're reaching out to mutual aid, if you're reaching out to a group that advocates, for LGBTQI rights, anything, of that nature, outreach guide basically you it's helped me plenty of cases. Some days I just spent a day doing outreach and I use these templates and you can definitely input. I know we can't do it all the time, but just so we can try to stay organized, input in the outreach tracker who you're reaching out to. So, we're not sending one group 1,000 messages from all our members and whatnot. Next, you'll find some sweet PDFs for GSUS, flyers, signs, pamphlets, graphics, which helps us once again spread this movement. You can distribute these in your areas, take them to community events, third spaces. These are the tools that you can take if you're going to like a protest, a rally. If you're tabling, some of our chapters, they do boots on the ground organizing. Our chapter have used plenty of these multiple times, and they've been very helpful. You'll also see how to's. I know we say, take action. There's lots of actions for people to be doing right now. Once again, keep in mind, we're looking to obtain 3.5% or more of the population engaged in sustained participation and preparation for a general strike. That means that's us getting involved in our communities, building up the infrastructure to meet the people's needs before and after the strike. So we dropped a couple how-tos, some initiatives people can take. Community members, our chapters can take some how-tos on mutual aid, time banking, community trash pickup, community defense. All of these things play a role in building that infrastructure. And once again, you can always stay away from reinventing the wheel by connecting with a local org or group who's already doing this, and support them this side or third. You'll also find GSUS Phase 1 and Phase 2. It may sound familiar if you read the website or if you read the welcome packet. but it's just going a little bit into detail about what we're trying to get to, what's going to happen once we get 6 million individuals, and we're trying to craft those demands. Or it's talking about phase one, about us trying to grow our numbers and outreach and make those connections, so we can have different sectors of the struggle at the table when we are making these demands. You also see some resources. We have resources there from Copability. Copability, it's a comrade. They developed an app. Basically, it was geared towards keeping people safe. But if you check it out, you'll see resources on there. But it's definitely good to have. You can download it on your phone. But they do have great resources on it, and you may find use for it in other ways as well. There's also statewide resources from Sister T. They share a lot of resources, and if you have like any and from any documents, any links that has like resources for everyone to use, or if you just have resources specifically for your state, checking your state channel, check to see if you have a local GSUS chapter, because you always can get that on their link tree. We encourage, most of our chapters, most of the GSUS social medias to have a link tree for those purposes, to disperse information out about resources and whatnot. I'll pass it over to Dalian to run through the announcements if they're available.
Right on. And just to clarify, Day, the resources that are on like the SistaTIF stuff, this is like mental health organizations or like phone numbers people can call and stuff like that. I forget what else is on there. It's been a while since I've looked at it. But yeah, I think it's got mental health resources as well as like some other nonprofits and things. But yeah, check it out. There's some good stuff in there. All right. So yeah, welcome all. I'm Dalian. I help organize with the Oregon chapter and help run these meetings when I can as well. Yeah, so we're going to tell you that we've got, obviously this is a welcome meeting, so the purpose of this meeting is to help introduce new members to the organization, help you get to meet a few people who you might see around the Discord that you can say hi to or have a conversation with. And we've also got our thought-provoking question for open discussion later that we can bat around and get people's opinions on. And yeah, it's a nice chance for you to kind of stretch your political education muscles and think about some of the issues that we have and how we're going to solve them together. One of the other types of meetings that we do on a monthly basis is a coalition meeting. And the purpose of this is the coalition is pretty much like all of the allies or partners that are trying to help us in our general strike movement. This is a meeting where we introduce ourselves to them, get ourselves on board with how we can help each other. Sometimes we've had these discussions already, like one-on-one, and we're just kind of bringing them into this kind of fuller meeting. Other times we haven't had the opportunity to have a one-on-one meeting yet, and so this is kind of a place where they can come, receive information, ask questions, and things like that. But really, General Strike US, we're looking to not only build our own projects, we're also looking to use our members' time and energy and resources to help build any other local projects that are going to help us get towards our goals. So if there's a local project that is, working on standing up for transgender rights in one area of the country, or is working on building mutual aid in another area of the country, and if they come to us and say, hey, we could use a few members to help us with a project, is there anything you could lend support to? We're happy to entertain those things and offer support whenever possible, because these little side mission or local goals all add together to help us be able to have our general strike in the future. Hope that makes sense for everybody, but feel free to ask. I know it's a slightly different method than most people expect, but it's been working really well. We've got a lot of people who are lending their support to us as well as other organizations at their local level, and we just keep checking back in and seeing if there's things they can do for us with our general strike movement as well. So yeah, the coalition meeting is meant for all of these kind of partner organizations. So think like DSA or the Sunrise Movement or any other like environmental movements or like LGBTQ IA plus, movements that want to connect with us. This is a really great meeting for them. Yeah. All right. So this meeting will be on February 22nd at 4 p.m. PST or 7 p.m. EST. It'll be on a different app. It won't be here in the Discord server. It'll be using an app called Jitsi. This is spelled in the welcome meeting agenda, but maybe if someone doesn't mind finding the website for the Jitsi Meet company, and we can drop that in chat so people can look at it if they want. It's just kind of a Zoom alternative is what it is. It's just got a different name that you probably haven't heard before. So yeah.
People want to attend that. Where do they get the link for the actual meeting?
There will be an announcement coming out pretty soon. I think it's also probably posted in the events space. Like there's a little event calendar button here in Discord, and I believe if you press that, it should have the exact link you'll need to get to the Jitsi meeting.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, our goal there is to meet up with partner organizations and then also start talking. We'll have a little bit of working session during that meeting too, where we'll talk about kind of the current status of projects they're working on, if there's anything that they want us or other organizations to be aware of and help assist with in the near future, and or to set up future meetings and connections as well. This is also an opportunity for those organizations to, meet other organizations as well, besides just General Strike US too. So we're happy to help connect others within the communities as well. Eventually, we'll have these sorts of meetings at more local levels as our numbers and volunteers are able to do such things. But for now, we're doing it at a national level. So, all right. That's pretty much it. We've got some other things you might be able to check out on our Discord. Like we mentioned, that little events calendar also tells you that we've got our political education classes every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific or 7 p.m. Eastern. There's also a book club that's starting up every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you're interested in hosting some sort of a workshop, this could be something about like starting your own community garden, or like how to do a quick do-it-yourself sustainability project around where you live, or learning how to do some basic repair for things around your house that might be really expensive, or things around your car or apartment or things like that. Meditation could be a workshop, could also be on like a specific education topic. If you have any of these skills that you'd like to share with the community and you think it'd be a nice event that you could share over Discord or another type of method, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd love to help support making that happen if that's something we can help share your skills and knowledge with the community. Being able to teach people how to do things for themselves or build a better community is what we're really trying to do. We're trying to create tools that everyone can take into their neighborhoods, into their next days or their next weeks or their next months, and be able to make at least something a little bit better while we're building toward this general strike. We're not just trying to sit on our hands and wait for the other 11 million-ish people to arrive. We are trying to actively get out there and build what we want the world to look like once the general strike happens, and to be there after the general strike happens. We'll also need that infrastructure to help keep us safe and keep us sustainable while we are striking. All right. I think that's about it. We're going to have a little bit more activities after this. I think it might be time for open discussion, but I'll throw it back today just to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Oh, no, we do have a couple other things, I think. Yeah. So I'll throw it back today for now.
Pretty much summed it up, Deli, and thank you so much for that. The last thing basically is just going over just volunteers. Join the team to support. This can be something that's done for the national circle here in Discord, or you can start doing these teams in your regional areas like tech team, strategy, outreach, social media, education, research, things of that nature. We just had a strategy meeting recently earlier today. We haven't had one in a while, so it was definitely good to go over a lot of those things. I think moving forward, just trying to strategize about things on a regional level, what help us out. And if we, can get that situated first, then we can move back and, report to the national and things of that nature. So just starting out to joining these teams, the join support, start a GSUS chapter. One thing that we've been trying to do, if you are good at making like designs and things of that nature, there's a collaborative design project. I do know May Day, International Workers' Day is coming up. That would be great to get, some GSUS designs regarding that. I know most of our chapters will be out. Even if, you're not, we can just get that information out. It'll be a great way for us to make some connections, with the labor initiative. We have those designs and things of that nature during those events. Also, healthcare is a good topic to do one on. So we know the whole situation with Luigi, the health insurance and things like that, just to touch on, expose the system even more with the GSUS design. And, this is why we are organizing our strike and, and whatnot. But just some great projects to work on. There are other ones. If you can check out, it is a channel dedicated to projects. So I'll put that in right now. Just dropped it in the chat. But there are other projects, and the teams have been, working, organizing. We have outreach team doing some things. Our tech team doing some things, and in the Discord is basically for our national circle. But like I say, once again, we can get this done on a regional level as well. So if you have skills that you would like to provide, for a local chapter or your region, definitely set that up. We want to promote self-determination, collective sustainability, and try to help people. We'll try to let people know that they can take the initiative to get things started. Um, was basically it. We'll possibly do questions unless you all wanted to chime in. Did you all have anything to add to that before we went to open discussion? All right, sounds good. So we'll open the floor. Please feel free to talk. It's a casual conversation. We're amongst comrades. We're amongst people that we should be getting to know, trust, and things of that nature. So come on, share your thoughts, ideas. You want to answer the question, or if you have any questions about anything, that we just mentioned.
Yeah, we can start off if anyone has questions about the presentation, and then after like 10 or so minutes, if we've answered all those, we can go into the thought-provoking question.
Sweet.
Any questions on the presentation information or other GSUS items?
A little bit, I think. You mentioned that you're trying to make improvements in communities as we go forward. Are there any keywords that you could give to people in order for them to get a better idea of what you mean? Like, are we talking about permaculture or something like that? Or is it something unique to your movement here or this movement?
So I think every community is definitely going to be different, but the real vision for our general strike chapters, is to do the work of assessing their communities, finding out the people's needs, talking to the people, um, whatever the problems are in the community, then finding those solutions and the best programs to, try to help meet the people's needs and whatnot. So, one example is, I can say food. What we're trying to do is, connect with groups who are already, working, who already have active food pantries or food fridges. And, we've created our own. So we do have a GSUS pantry, possibly, promoting that a little bit more throughout the year. And, we're also helping groups, who are working on that. So that's a good area. I say housing is real big. So our group has also been connecting with, I don't know if you all heard, they're called Rent Too Damn High, things of that. They've been really popping off in Michigan and whatnot, but connecting with tenants associations and things of that nature. We do have housing on our strike card, but just connecting with those groups as far as helping, different departments, organize. or having workshops. Like it's really, I don't know, it's a lot of possibilities out there, and it depends on first your passion and what's going on in your community. And while we're doing that, we're thinking of strike demands that can help, empower our community. What do the people want? I know what they're talking about here in Detroit, housing, reparations, things of that nature. Because I'm, involved. I'm going to the police commissioners meetings and things of that nature. Just getting involved. Being the eyes and ears to the streets. Our chapters, feedback information to the regional and national circles because they are. I know it's a lot, but they are doing the work of assessing their communities, and helping, other groups support their communities and establishing their own programs and whatnot. But it's basically just, building up an interconnected system to meet our needs. So if we, know the government is poisoning our food, or if we know we're trying to boycott Walmart's and all these other places, we should be helping establish more farmers market, or more, free flea markets, community free stores, this, that, or third, whatever, you have the capacity or the ability to do. I hope that kind of answered your question. Anyone can chime in as well.
Yeah, I was going to add a couple of quick things. You hit one of them, which I was going to say, Day, which was free stores are another really great community resource that can be fairly easy to put together. Pretty much all you need is a table, some extra resources, food, clothing, tools, household items that you're not using. And you can offer that up to a community for free and get a few people to also help bolster other things that they might be able to add to the free store. And I was going to say boycotts and just any other shifts you guys can make to your economic activities that help send resources towards your local areas, or towards marginalized groups, or towards companies that are actually more aligned with our values and are not trying to actively exploit us or the environment as much. I know there's not as many of those big companies out there that are avoiding those things nowadays. Most of them are trying to exploit workers, customers, and the environment. But some of your local businesses might be a lot more, interested in actually giving back to the community. Anything you guys can do to shift resources, anything you all can do to shift resources towards those areas and away from the companies that are doing us harm is also a really powerful action. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes practice to really make that complete shift. So, yeah, if you're looking for specific things to do, that's some of them. The last thing I was going to leave for you is I think Dave posted it in the meeting agenda, but there's a link tree called GSUS Resources.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of how-tos in there. So if some of this stuff, if you've been, active or thinking about these things for a while, and you're already plugged into a group doing mutual aid, or you're already pretty good about thinking about where your economic resources are going, you feel like you're doing the best you can with that, and you're looking for something different, there's a bunch of other how-tos that might give you other ideas for specific actions that might fit your community. Yeah, and this can be another way if you're looking for something specific to start with. But anything helps. We know everybody's capacities will be different, but just try and think about, one small step you can take within the next day or the next week that could move you towards, aligning and kind of pushing this movement forward. It's going to take a lot of small actions from a huge number of people to actually make this thing what it needs to be. No one person or no 3 people or no 100 people is going to make this happen all on their own. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Can I add just a couple more ideas that didn't get touched on this question?
Oh, yeah, please do.
So in addition to your local community, especially for people in the strategy meeting, some people expressed difficulty finding local community to build with because they live in a very red state or a very red county. And in those instances, or just if some of the needs that you see in various communities aren't necessarily in real life. If you're able to put energy into your IRL community, you should. That's hugely important, whether it's food banking or protesting. But there's also a lot of need on the server, both the individual like breakout community servers for counties and states, and the main server itself. The zine or zine, however it's pronounced, was mentioned. That needs content if you're an artist or a writer who wants to like put some thoughtful things together, and you feel like there's things that you want to say. We need content for that. There's a bunch of projects, things various people are working on, talking about seed banking, talking about tool libraries, um, talking about I have one for accessibility resources. So just another handful of ideas. If you don't know where to start or you don't have an idea what you want to bring to the community as a project you personally initiate, there are a bunch of things here and now ready started that your skills might be useful on. Over.
You
Can I ask a
mentioned
quick question about the business portion?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anyone working on, sorry, I'm like super new and I haven't checked all the right channels, I'm sure, but is there anyone working on like a divided by state sort of place where people can go for like business funding, almost like a GoFundMe, Kickstarter? Because I feel like so many people, when they hear strike, are so concerned about, I'll lose my job, I'll lose my job, I'll lose my job. It's like, great. What if we have our own jobs that we can give you? What if we can employ ourselves? What if you can have a loan of $50,000 that you don't have to pay back to a bank instead of funding, healthcare for everyone, which is great. We should keep doing that. But, actually make people able to be their own bosses and other people's bosses right away. Over.
There's been we've been encouraging people to focus like on workers co-ops and land housing co-ops. I think those are great solutions, especially to combat the heavy loss of unemployment or the housing crisis or homelessness being criminalized. But definitely I like how you put it, becoming our own bosses, practicing owning the means of production and things of that nature. But definitely if any chapter like to venture off into that would be definitely helpful. I encourage workers co-ops. There's been talk about possibly getting funding or connecting ourselves with intentional developers of communities, or if we get land as a resource, possibly doing like a physical GSUS community. It's a lot of possibilities out there. But yes, definitely creating those alternatives to become our own executive chiefs.
Hey, you mind if I chime in here for a sec?
Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, so I'm actually working on something like that. A little bit unpopular because it has to do with crypto, but that's something I've worked in for years since Bitcoin came out. So I'm noticing with like a lot of the movement stuff, I'm trying to figure out how we can kind of unify all the things that are going on. And I recognize the need for funding to protect people, but also to help us get things done and spread materials and perhaps push whatever narrative that any individual movement or contingent of movements is making. So with the whole entire idea of like a crypto for the for a movement, it's we have to address the reality that we have a guy in our White House with the access to all of our information who could potentially use that to silence resistance members or whatever you want to call it, or groups who are organizing to push back against what we see happening here. So I think it would be wise to create a decentralized currency for movements to be able to move payments around in case any of our banking was placed under attack, which is a very real possibility now, just with the way things have happened. So I'm organizing and I'm working on creating a blockchain to push out to the world as like a movement token to help Americans resist tyranny and to be able to fund and create grants and different programs for different movements and to help us organize funds by calling across the world and creating kind of like a global outreach resistance and also offlining our banking from and money from the traditional system. So I mean I'm all for that. I think that's that's what I'm working on, and I think that's something that's going to be very necessary if things were to go like towards the darkest path possible. It was as soon as I found out they were in the treasury, that was like the first thing that came to mind. Uh, so I'm organizing that, and I'm also organizing for myself, or at least, my directives are looking at calling a constitutional convention. I've written amendment, calling for a bill of responsibilities to the people, and I'm moving forward with legislation, uh, creating legislative action for that, as well as a immigration reform bill that is tied into infrastructure.
Very cool. Yeah, this is Jay. I'm definitely down to chat more on anything related to business, crypto, organizing. Like I'm here as long as needed, so we could try to set up some groups. I'm could go on and on about all the things I'm interested in working on and have been working on. But I will spare us because it would take too long. But as far as I do a lot of interested in a lot of global collaborations and anything that can just help groups get stabilized and working on any type of projects. I'm super excited about crypto. I've definitely been working on crypto tokens and also different types of ideas of how to build our own economies, our own decentralized economies for communities, and like that what we're doing. So it's just really exciting and would love to connect. And also I'm big into transparency and open systems. So if anyone wants to do that kind of thing and record and everything too and share it with the world, that would be awesome. So maybe after this session we could connect some more. Check.
I think these are great ideas, and I look forward to hearing how they continue to evolve alongside the work we're doing here, focused on organizing for a general strike and building community and mutual aid along the way. I'm just listening to all this thinking, for someone who maybe isn't as active in activism, that this could be a little like trying to get into the deep end of the pool. So I just wanted to come back to the very basic idea of just starting where you are and with who you already know and with what you already know. And if this all is starting to seem like overly complex, because it can all come back down to just being very simple. Like Dalian said earlier, we need a lot of people to do a lot of small things. And as we do them together, they will add up to a really big thing. So I just want to encourage people who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by the scope of this to think that there is a lot of great things people can contribute across the spectrum of need and skill and resources.
I wanted to add something about the sort of the concept of how we're tracking resources and labor and being your own boss and tie it into crypto. And so we have a concept that it was introduced to me by daydreaming about called time banking, which the more I read about it, the more fascinated I am. And as far as like creating our own currency, I mean, I would love to combine that with the idea of time banking, the idea that like, um, I put in however many hours of work doing what I am strongest at, and in exchange, someone else does things that I am not strong at, and we trade. But economizing it, making it so it's like trackable, and it's not necessarily like a trade and barter thing. Because trade and barter, the way it gets broken down, never really happened in society. It was rarely, I'll trade you one chicken for 12 knives. I don't need 12, whatever the equivalency is. Like, I don't think historians have said it doesn't really have gift economies worked so much better. But when we get into millions of people, that sort of thing becomes like you want to make sure it's happening fairly, and it's happening in a way that people feel they're getting compensated for their labor, at least to the best of our ability. And I was kind of wondering, because I don't know honestly very much about crypto, except I have like environmental concerns. But putting those aside for a moment, um, would it be like, is crypto a kind of thing where we could say like time banking, like working this many hours for your local community or your connection with the infrastructure we're trying to put in place, putting in how many hours earns you so much time bank crypto. Like, is that even possible? Is that outlandish? I know this is not necessarily the scope of the meeting, but I felt the time banking thing was kind of an answer to part of that question. And then, does that tie to crypto, or does that work? Is that how that works?
I don't have a ton of knowledge about crypto, but I would assume that you could connect something like that
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
you can do that. So, I mean, I know crypto is not popular. Right now, you see a lot of scams and stuff like that. The underlying technology for crypto is blockchain. And what blockchain is basically a distributed ledger. It's basically a system that is decentralized, that relies on no one party, that is a ledger and an accounting system where everyone can see the transactions, and it's completely transparent.
Hmm.
So crypto tokens are, a byproduct of a blockchain network, and you can generate these tokens to, do whatever, or, create memes and whatever. And that's where you get into like, the scammy territory that is, popular, that people don't like. But the technology itself allows you to do some really cool things economically that we haven't really seen. And I don't want to get on a soapbox and start talking blockchain, but
A question, a follow-up before we change subject, just quick. Is that okay? I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
So, uh, if under to erase the scam idea, if the only thing we're promising isn't cash American dollars, but rather that you can trade for the stuff available in our network. That's all right? Like, it's self-contained only
yeah,
for the people using it until
and,
it becomes widespread,
and
right?
that
And then people
really that
go
that's
ahead.
really what I think is going to be the crux of like blockchain. What it's going to be used for is lowering the cost by people networking things they're interested in, and then trading the products of that network as like commodity money. So, a lot of people are against it, from the idea that it's like this scammy thing, and, it's like, betting on options or whatever, just silly stuff. But the underlying infrastructure and some of the things that are going on, it's like, all these networks we're a part of, we would be able to barter and trade digital representation of those products, while also networking that token into a wider, broader ecosystem, so it has more power directly for what you want to spend on.
Yeah.
So, the concept of having like a moneyless society, blockchain is a way for us to, you know, put
Bridge,
value
bridge that.
on certain
Mhm.
products and track it.
Yep.
So you
We
don't
should
see
probably
that
change
part
the
of
subject. We should probably change the subject, but this is so fascinating, and my brain is flying a million miles a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
So
Thanks for sharing all the information. Yeah, I think if people are interested in having this conversation, why don't you all put your information into the chat area and you all can find each other, have a meeting and stuff if you want. Yeah, there's definitely abilities to connect and things. We did have quite a few other questions that came up in the chat that I think we want to try to address really quickly. So one of them was just a general one about people just trying to figure out where to start with the general strike. I think some of this might come from just questions about like when the strike's going to happen, where the strike's going to happen, who's going to be participating in the strike. We do cover all this information in the welcome packet. So I would suggest reading that if you have not. But if you have read the welcome packet and you're still not entirely sure, that's okay. We know that this is a very different type of movement and organization than most people expect when they walk in. And sometimes we need to kind of explain how things work and what the ideas are. So yeah, we'll try to give a little bit of space now if anyone wants to talk about that for the next couple minutes. And then after that, we'll try to see if we can get back to our thought-provoking question. So any questions about the general strike or first steps?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Forgive me if I missed this earlier in the conversation. Are you coordinating with established unions to coordinate this general strike? And are you trying to network with people who are perhaps not unionized to participate in the strike as well?
Yeah, sure. We can definitely answer those things for you. So we are coordinating with individuals. Those individuals are sometimes part of unions, and many of them are not part of unions. And that's totally okay. We're trying to get anyone who is able to, who feels like they're in a position where they can withhold their labor and make this commitment to stand up against the exploitations within our system. So, yeah, you don't have to be in a union with it. As we explained on the website and the FAQ, there's a big difference between the levels of protections you might have if you are participating as part of a union or if you're not. So those are good things to be aware of. But yeah, we're also going to be building these support networks and strike funds for our own community to use during the general strike as well. We are in outreach to unions. Some of them haven't wanted to talk to us yet because they've got their own stuff going on. But there are members of local unions who I know have reached out and said like, oh yeah, we're going to share all your information at the meetings, or they've asked like representatives to come and talk to them. So yeah, this is something though that we are also aware that there are some legal obstacles with unions coordinating with other unions. So we have to make sure that the unions stay safe if they do try to send support towards our movement as well. That's something that we have done research on and have teams making sure that we're trying to do that in a safe and effective way. Another question that comes up often is, are we connected to the 2028 UAW call for, it's not a general strike. They're calling for all the unions to end their labor contracts at the same time because again, they're being very careful about avoiding the legal issues with unions coordinating with other unions. The answer is that we are not on that timeline. Our organization is focused on getting a critical mass of 3.5% of the population before we strike. There's research behind it that shows that we have a much higher chance of being successful if we reach that sort of a critical mass level. And yeah, the UAW and the partners in that might be something we can support if we've got enough membership at the time. We just don't know how many members we're going to have at that point, and we do want to make sure that if we take our shot, that it's going to be a good one. So that's the short bit. As tried to keep it as short as I could on unions, but yeah, feel free to ask other questions if you guys have them.
Quick question. In that 11 million, are you guys taking into account any sort of unions that are partnering with? I know you said like people are in unions and you're not really partnering with unions, but I know some people were reaching out to them. Are you including those numbers in that 11 million, or you just want 11 million names on that strike card?
At this point, we're looking for the 11 million names on the strike card, but we'll probably have a discussion if we do end up having a significant enough amount of members from unions that are willing to support us. But yeah, at this point, we're so far we've got a long way to build anyway, so it's doesn't matter too much at this point. It's small amounts.
Also,
And we
to jump
slowly
in,
go ahead.
sorry,
I'll just go after you.
just a math thing. One of the things about the 3.5 critical mass, what makes it a critical mass, is that that's the point at which that snowball's kind of rolling. So even if we start with 3.5 and it's like slightly more or slightly less than we need, it's gonna keep growing over.
Just to add, I know, the unions are important, but we do not solely want to rely on the unions. A lot of our members are part of unions, but we have a lot of members who are not. Workers are a part of this, but we also have potential energy, with so many other sectors of the struggle. So we just want to, be as inclusive as we can. This is not solely a movement focused on labor. As we know, our problems go so much deeper than just labor. Neither is this a movement strictly here to, get Trump or Elon, out of office. We started very early 2022 before any of that. We're solely focused on, the system as itself, the root causes of it. As Trump, all of these people, the Democrats are just symptoms of the system. So I just want to put emphasis on that as well. You can connect with your unhoused community. You can connect, a lot of political prisoners, they've been, using them as slave labor and things of that nature. You want to make sure this movement is inclusive and helps amplify each community's, each struggled voices.
So what definition of a strike are we using then?
We can say a broad based strike. That's basically it's a broad based general strike, people led initiative. We morally don't have, we're morally not obligated to comply with the social contract or a system that does not represent the people or does not share our interests and values. A lot of us are anti-capitalist. A lot of us are not for, genocide, things of that nature. Those are values and interests that does not align with the people and will prevent us from evolving, as the human species, basically. This movement is, for standing up for rights for humanity. Right now, our humanity is being under attack. It's been under attack, and the planet is also suffering. And it's so much
So
going on. Our problems go
would
deeper
you
than
agree? Would you agree that the general term of a strike is withholding of labor?
it's part of it, but there's so much that
No,
goes
no, would
into
you
it.
agree that that's a general term? I know that's not how you're using the term here, but would you agree that that's a general understanding of what a strike is?
No, I'll say
So
it goes deeper. It's resistance. It's striking. It's action behind it. So, a lot of us strike. The homeless people out there are striking. They're not participating in this system. It's many ways that you can strike and resist.
I
Withholding
have
your
some
labor, withholding purchasing power, all types of things. We're more than just our labor.
I have some things to add to that. I would say that withholding of labor is a major component of the strike, but it's like Day mentioned, not the only way to participate. Many people are prevented from participating in that way due to their circumstances. They may be incarcerated, homeless, unemployed. They may be underage. So there's many ways in which that doesn't cover everyone. However, yes, that would be a major part of our strategy, and a major part of our plan would be the withholding of labor. And that is
So
why we, sorry, go ahead.
my reason for bringing that up is not to be like, oh, like what is a strike? It's to be like, so don't you think that like General Strike US, I think with a general understanding of what it means is that it's a general strike, a withholding of labor across the entire United States. Does that mean that, I mean, to me, it seems kind of misleading, right?
so
If it's not just a withholding of labor, I mean, it's more of a resistance movement, right? My concern is that it might be detracting from people who are looking to organize a labor strike as opposed to just an overall resistance on multiple different fronts. That's
Do
all.
you feel
That's my
like you
point.
were misled here and that you're not sure if you want to be here, or
No, no, no. Oh, yeah.
Can I
Here,
okay?
there you go. Oh,
answer
sorry. I
that?
thought I was muted. So the question is, I don't know, we're getting a lot of questions about like clarity about things, and we're constantly have to answer those questions over and over again. That's what I'm saying.
Fair point. Yeah, we know that a lot of people come in new every day. You know, we've got thousands of people signing the strike card. We've got hundreds of people joining the Discord. Sometimes there were even thousands of people joining the Discord on a like daily or weekly basis. So yeah, this is just part of what it means to have a movement grow. And when we do need to explain who we are, what we stand for, what our vision is of the future, and we do want to make sure that it resonates with people and that it's something that they want to support. I feel like we try our best to be clear with the welcome messaging and things, but we always welcome support if people want to volunteer to help give feedback on specific parts of our messaging and things like that. But
So
yeah,
can you update the messaging on the website to reflect that without having to have people go to the welcome packet?
that's the discussion I think we could have in a separate space if you want to have a working meeting about like onboarding feedback and stuff like that. We can try to do that. Yeah, but I do think there's quite a bit that goes into understanding what the movement is that would be difficult to put on the welcome packet. We are actively working on revamping the welcome packet into a more interactive and kind of accessible manner as well. We've got several members, in fact, a couple of them are here in this call who are working on that project. So if that's a team you want to be a part of, yeah, we'd love to have help.
Yeah,
And
we
I
can
would
also do.
reiterate. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we can also have multiple websites as well. We talked about that earlier, American Spring, when you asked earlier about the website and the messaging as well. We shouldn't just have one sole website because we're not going to be able to please everyone. So just
But it's
having
not
it put
about
out in different ways, different messages, because to some people it does
it's not about
resonate.
pleasing everyone. It's about having a message that people can go get
Stop
around to,
Please
interrupting
and having
stop
people,
multiple
bro.
sites
interrupting.
will be a
Stop
completely different thing.
interrupting people.
Well, they're
Stop
misrepresenting my
interrupting.
point. That's what I'm saying.
Some people get it, some people don't. So, if you find a messaging that you would like to get, maybe we can put it, on another website or things like that. But, it's going to be hard to, once again, please everyone. So we should have, different voices, different ways of putting this information out.
I would like to add that in the US, in recent history, most of the strikes that we've seen have been union organized related to a specific company and a group of workers who all work at the same company. What we're doing here is different, and that's why it is deeper and involves more levels. A general strike, you're talking about the mass withholding of labor. So, yes, it is about the withholding of labor. It's also about boycotting large corporations, choosing how we redistribute our resources amongst people, including the unhoused, the incarcerated. So I don't think it's misleading to say that a major component of what we're doing here and what we're gearing up towards is the withholding of labor. But my comrades were just mentioning that's not the end all. That's not representative of the whole workings of the project, but it's probably the major end goal.
I do have a question about. Oh, go ahead.
Just to throw on this conversation before the subject changes. So general strike to me means a strike, including the strike of labor, across multiple industries and demographics. Includes like economic strike in the sense of withholding purchasing power, or limiting it to people that meet certain expectations. And there's also people that can't strike, like certain first responders and things like that. Like those people have contracts that it's actually like a felony for them to just stop working. So there's certain things that like legally have to be taken into account. Like a lot of unions can't officially say, "Hey, join this general strike" in so direct terms because it says the law says that would be a secondary strike of unions boycotting other businesses and unions. The certain things they can't do without risking dissolution of the union. What they can do is say this is a thing that's happening in the news, in history. If you want to read about it, we don't endorse it, but it exists. You know what I mean? Then they have to be very careful about what they say and do around that. So, um, yes, it's about withholding labor. If someone's capable of withholding labor, with or without uh, official union endorsement, maybe with, uh, if the timeline works out where the unions are canceling their contracts at the same time that we're striking, then there's so much more freedom of the unions to support us because the contracts aren't there, so they're not risking anyone's job. And the situation really depends on what happens and how things unfold. But a huge part of what we need right now is like infrastructure and education. Over.
If I can also just offer somewhat, somewhat of a different viewpoint. My name's Ashley. I'm currently unemployed. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Therefore, I don't have a job I can strike from, but I do recognize in order to help more people join the strike, they need to be supported. And I think that support is what's vital to this conversation. And that's my understanding what's happening is we need to find a way to support these people so that those who are participating in, labor exchange for currency, that this can be the most successful strike that it can be, because we also have to remember we're in it for the long haul. This is not something that's going to happen once and then it's done. We have to keep the momentum. Some things take months, some things take years, and this may be it. But if we're going to have people keep building this momentum and join another strike and another strike and another strike, then we have to show that it's successful, and that involves these talks and this collaboration.
I jump in with one more question?
Go for it.
Cool. So I understand that there are big systemic issues that you're trying to address with this above and beyond the current attempted or in progress coup. Cool. That's great. Do you guys have a list of demands should you get to that point? Have you drafted that up? Are you coordinating with the Poor People's Campaign? I think that's Carolinas is where that one's based out of. They've already got very much a list of demands in place, is part of the reason why I ask. Again, I didn't notice any of this, and I may just be blind, and I didn't see it in your materials. So I was curious if you had gotten that far.
Yeah, no worries. We do have a list of demands that we have structured that we think the community might ask for in the welcome packet. And we are working during phase 1, but especially during phase 2 of our general strike, again, in the welcome packet. We'll be working on refining those demands and actually getting like a more like actionable point onto them so that we can make sure that it's something that is digestible, people can get behind, and we'll make sure that it is democratically or communally decided in a decentralized manner, so that no one person is just deciding what the general strike is used for and what it will be. We'll all decide that together in the future, but we do have a broad base of demands, and you can read that in the welcome packet.
So I just posted in the chat what the page 8 of the welcome packet of what the demands are from as have been set up in the welcome packet.
I was going to add one other point just about onboarding and such as well. I do think that while it's great that a lot of people interact with the website and get information from there, and we do want to be aware that the fact that some people might only interact with the website, sign the strike card, or maybe not even sign the strike card, but might just tell other people about General Strike US and share the message that way. That a big portion of this, if we haven't said it enough, is like rebuilding community and actually like talking to people, learning how to trust each other, learning how to work through difficult conversations, learning how to work through differences of opinions, differences of backgrounds, still see each other as human, still see the other strangers that are out there that we haven't even met as humans too. Some people who even voted in ways that actively are harming our communities. I know that they're human, and I know there's a lot of really crappy things that are going to happen because of the actions they did, but I also understand they are there a lot of people are under, not everyone, but a lot of the people out there are under immense forms of pressure and stress from our economic conditions as well. And so part of what we need to do is not just part of what's nice about having people come in and get information and actually interact with little bits of political education or different ideas and perspectives in the welcome packet or in these meetings like this is it gets them into community. I know that the website isn't going to provide any communal connection if they just go there and stop there, hit the buttons, and then leave. And so part of this is really, really great if we can get those numbers on the strike card. But hopefully you guys are also seeing, y'all are seeing that we need deep roots in our organization. And we need as many people as possible to really actually understand and get what it is we're doing, get the bigger picture, because we are going to have some people who don't have as much of an understanding of the bigger picture, aren't as connected into the community, and we need to bring those people in. We need to lock arms with them if we're going to do this thing. I'm going to
So
leave it there for now.
yeah, another
Agreed.
thing. So just to reiterate, you acknowledge that we have a lot of people that are just coming into the website, signing the strike card, and expecting some kind of action without really interacting with the community. Did I hear that right?
I mean, the Discord numbers show we've got about 12,000 people in here,
Out
and
of
I know that we've got
250,000,
about
right?
250,000 of people signing the strike card. So yeah, math-wise, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, so 100%. Let's see. And then on top of that, we don't have any sort of emailing campaign, and we have no way of funding the email campaign to people who have signed the strike card. Is that correct?
We do have opportunities for emailing people, and you may be seeing something soon.
Cool. What platform are you guys using for that?
We'll make the announcement. Get everything sorted,
Yeah,
but definitely make the
Cool.
announcement.
yeah. The
What is
numbers
how
we're working
soon can
on
we
that are
expect
not
that?
present in this one. I think it
We'll
might
make
be happening.
Like next
Yeah,
week, 2
pretty soon.
weeks, 3 weeks?
I am not a part of the actual team that's doing that, so I won't be able to speak for them what their deadline is. But they did tell us it's a project they're working on doing sooner rather than later.
Okay. Let's see.
Is there space for another question? I wanted to ask a question. I was just curious if could I hear more about what it would look like for someone who isn't a worker to strike? Like, for example, I was curious about unhoused people striking and students striking and exactly what that would look like, or those other fronts of striking. I'm unfamiliar with that.
Just a form
Answer.
of boycotting.
I might be wrong here, but that is going to depend very locally, right? Like you're not looking to micromanage a bunch of different small movements, or are you?
No, but we want to provide the resources so people can not reinvent the wheel every time, right? So through each local community and their ties back to various resources and communication between different groups, you know, if people want to get involved, so for unhoused people, for example, um, there are definitely ways to get involved with the type of community and infrastructure that we're building, regardless of situation, you know? And even just utilizing the services we set up is going to be something that keeps the momentum going. You know, if we're trying to feed people but no one is talking to us, that's a problem. You know, so having people to do outreach in the unhoused community and say, hey, this is a thing they're starting a community garden. And if you go and help garden, you can eat garden stuff for free. Like having that just word of mouth distribution on the ground is huge. And there's so many other ways. And like you said, it's going to depend on the community needs and what's there and what's going on. But yeah, I think there's definitely ways to see involvement, even just by coming where we're feeding people and eating. I think that is something the community needs, like to build.
I'm going
Because
to
they're
interrupt. I'm
usually
sorry. I don't want to
neglected.
be rude,
Mm.
but I have direct experience with the unhoused community as a poverty survivor myself. I think I can answer this question a little bit more directly. First of all, it is very much a stereotype that the unhoused do not work. They
Mm,
do.
That too.
That it is the vast majority of them have jobs. Do they have jobs that can be unionized? Not necessarily. Some of them do. Some of them are day laborers. Some of them are being exploited. eh, Whatever. So for the unhoused to join a general strike at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, you're going to see a drop in labor. Um, the other part of it is when we're trying to reach that 3 point whatever percent, the body count is important. Whether you have a whether you are a stay-at-home mom, which is officially not counted as work but is work, or you are a person who is flying a sign to survive on a corner somewhere, getting up and joining the march still changes the way things look for the hours that that march occurs. And so it very much qualifies as a strike, and it has an effect. Um, the fact that the effect is surprising is part of what makes it powerful. And I'm done.
And I just want to
Um,
chime in as far as like where the strike will be. We're not trying to get 11 million people in the streets. You know, we support strikes, smaller strikes. We support protests because it helps us, you know, grow our numbers and whatnot. But basically, you know, once we have these systems in place in our communities, you know, we're in our communities. We're shifting our time, energy, and money back into our communities. You know, we're attending to our community gardens. You know, we're in, you know, a community political education class or skill sharing workshop. You know, we'll be maintaining, managing our own communities.
So, and you guys are planning on sustaining people with 11 million people with community gardens, right?
Food
Is that I
co-op,
understand it correct?
food co-ops connecting. This is coalition building. So by us like my chapter, we're connecting with Detroit Food Co-op, or we can start a food co-op. All of these are possibilities. These are smaller actions that we can take right now. When people ask, what can they do right now? A food pantry is a good task that you can do, but you can also do and reach out to an existing food co-op. Or, you know, we can start a community garden. I mean, it's possibilities out there, you know,
Yeah, here in
a
New
lot.
York, we're reaching out to all the organizations that already do mutual aid or food banking, food banks, food pantries, existing infrastructure that has the capacity to potentially be ready to serve more people than they typically do if we need to depend on those kind of resources to move outside the economy. So community gardens could be one aspect of providing food to people in some places at some points in time, but there are a lot of like similar types of resources, and when you bring them all together, you know, when you go out across hundreds of different organizations and thousands when you start going across the country, you know, you start to see that there is already a lot of capacity, and you know, you start to you know, you were talking earlier, America, about you know, having your own food stash, and that is a fantastic thing, but not everybody is able to do that on their own independently based on the economics of the society that we live in today. So in order for us to prepare for 11 million people to do this, we need to go into every corner of every cabinet and pull out every canned good we have, because that's what we're going to be, you know, depending on in some ways to make sure that we are confident that we have resources available when large groups of people who don't necessarily have their own independent resources that they can mobilize start to say, hey, how are we going to keep this going?
Yeah, we're going to need a ton of tools, and we're not saying there's just one tool that will solve this. And we're trying to help people see that there's going to be a lot of different tools. I know that's a difficult answer to take, especially for some people. I know we're getting into a lot of very specific strategy questions that are probably more better in a discussion in kind of those areas. But yeah, when you understand the theory behind some of these issues, the answers are going to be nuanced. And yeah, it's not just us saying, you know, everybody grows a community garden and we're good. We're saying a community garden is one of the tools that we're trying to help give to our local members that they can use to make themselves sustainable. If that doesn't work for them, we can help them get ideas for how to build their own stash over time of food, or we can help make sure that they're partnered up with food pantries and food banks in the area. There's just so many tools that we are going to be collecting together. And really, that's what we're doing is we are collecting together a bunch of tools for how to improve your community, how to make yourself sustainable, how to outreach to other partner programs. I know this is a complicated answer, and there's a lot of things that we're telling you that we can do, and our members are doing it, and that's why we're sharing these things with you, is because they are literally making these tools, and we are literally just trying to share them to as many of the members as we can whenever you all ask for questions about how can I help with this thing, or what can I do to take care of this concern that we'll have in the future. So yeah, I know that it sometimes is a hard answer. There's a lot going on. But yeah, stick around. I encourage everyone to like spend some time actually talking to people. Go talk in your state channels, see what's happening. Some of the states are just starting to get stuff rolling with in-person meetings or virtual meetings. Other states already have some of that set up. I know you all came into the Discord server, within probably the last week or two, maybe the last month or two. And yeah, just know that there's a lot of people who've been doing things. You might not see all of the actions that are being taken. You might not know it. Not all of them are, posting it, conscious updates like all the time. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Just take a week or two to look around and you'll see it's happening.
I think too there's a trust aspect of like if you don't have local community and you've never seen people take care of each other and you've only seen like the wretched toxicity of the worst of humanity, it's hard to imagine a world where that changes. But we're already doing it. And the once you participate in it, the trust takes time. Like it's understandable to not immediately trust in something you've never seen, right? But we're doing it.
I just wanted to chime in on a thought-provoking question. I mean, I really dropped it in there because I think it's really crucial, moving forward. And basically, I would encourage you all, if you don't know, to, study up, look into, liberation movements led by Black and Indigenous communities. It's so many it's so many things in there to help us to lead it, point us in the right direction. That's basically where we got, encouraging our chapters, to start services, programs are from a lot of these movements. Say it all the time, the Black Panther Party did not become a threat until they started their survival programs pending revolution. And these group of people, they did it with, little, possibly less resources than we have. They went to their communities, they talked to the small businesses, got their support, and they did this all over the country. The Black Panther Party are still in action, still doing survival programs, and all we're doing is encouraging our chapters, our members, to do the same. And we're just continuing a ongoing struggle that's been going on, and we're just helping it out. We need this infrastructure to move, society further, to gain some type of independence. We're in this position because we depended too much on the system. We depended too much on, this tyrannical government, and they know it. And they think that we're not gonna be willing to sacrifice, to go through certain things or go without certain things. But what's on the other side, it's worth it. Our liberation is worth it. Our freedom is worth it. The planet, is worth it. All of these things are worth it. And I would ask you to reconsider a lot of the stolen comforts that you're trying to hold on to, or reconsider a lot of the legislations and laws that are put in place to prevent us from advancing, or from gaining some type of power. We're gonna have to answer that question. Are we willing to keep complying or obeying to their organized crime, or are we willing to step into our collective power? Yeah, but I think you all should definitely look into, some social movements from the Black Panthers, the American Indian movement. A lot of these people already, they've been told us, where we're headed. They've been knew America was an imperialist empire. A lot of these things, these questions have already been, answered. As far as our resistance, you know, they were headed towards, creating these systems with the survival programs. they were focused on communities, and things of that nature. Like, you know, that's all I'm say. We're just focused on following laws that were made to keep us enslaved, and I'm yeah.
Would it be unreasonable to ask for the list of demands to be posted on the website?
It basically resonates. It's basically the same list of demands. It says it's broad list of demands. But once again, a lot of these will be fine tuned once we hit 6 million. As you see, there's no specific demand saying, get rid of Trump or anything. As we started before all of this, we're focused
Yeah.
on, the system at its core. So a lot of these demands, basically resonate. It says racial, social, economic justice. We just expanded on that on the welcome packet. But the welcome
Yeah,
packet
you can.
is linked to the website as well.
Well, yeah, it's linked to the website, but I think if it's like readily available, you can just put work in progress, right?
Can you
That's
shut the
all.
hell up? Like, just read the damn welcome packet.
I did read the welcome packet.
Let's be nice on all sides. But one thing that came up last week or the week before was that um, there is a reason to have the demands very open because we want the communities to come together, like Day saying, with 6 million people, when we have the critical mass to really get
Yep.
clear, exact demands. And so in that context, everybody's encouraged, if you want to start writing demands now, you can. No one is blocked from writing demands. I personally use the term the demand categories, or the list of all the categories of the demands. And if you go into the actual link of the plan that goes over the 3-stage plan, there's actually example demands. There's like at least 5 example demands that are actually very interesting to read. And I actually have like been documenting and drafting my own ideas for demands. So, it's an interactive process if anyone wants to start getting ideas and writing ideas and prepare for future stuff.
Yeah, we don't want to speak for every community. We can't speak for the indigenous community and they're not here. So, it does say land back, but we would like to, make these connections with these people, our political prisoners, incarcerated people. I'm pretty sure they have demands, unhoused community workers. We would like to have these demands to a point once we hit 6 million, reflect that and have all of these advocates for these struggles, our coalition members, and so on and so on, come to the table and really fine tune. But we pretty much have a solid idea, already. And the work of our chapters, being in the streets, being active, helps get those. They're listening to the people, they're assessing their environment, possibly helping with some of the solutions, helping build the infrastructure. It's pretty much all straightforward. It's just taking the initiative, practicing, collective sustainability and whatnot, and being in it for everyone. Um, you know, we have to understand that this movement is for everyone. So I have solidarity with, all people, whatever their demand is. We've all been oppressed by the system. And also, we are in solidarity with our comrades across borders and seas. Us, fortifying our resistance here, can help, the Palestinians, can help the Congolese people, anywhere else that the USA is antagonizing these people, displacing them, and destabilizing them. You know. Did anyone else want to answer the thought provoking question? I mean, what do you all think? I mean, do you all think that is important? Like looking at some of these struggles, to gain some type of insight on moving forward or your resistance. These people
Oh,
alive. These people were jailed for a reason. We still have H. Rap Brown in prison.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to look at activist movements of the past of all kinds. I mean, the indigenous communities are doing stuff all over the place in our country, and they've been working in various ways for a long time, and like I don't know enough about that, and I would love to know more because I think that I could, develop new methods and skills from learning more about those folks. There's the community organizers that fought redlining in inner cities in New York in the 1970s. That is a movement I personally know more about because I come from that movement. But there's tons of history of people trying to make changes in our country in all types of ways through organizing and activism that we should pay attention to.
Okay, I'm gonna hop in real quick and just talk a little bit more about the Black Panther Party because, like, we all kind of refer to it as history, even though it wasn't that long ago. And a lot of the people, a lot of the prominent figures in like from the original movement are still alive to this day. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, again, like just reach out to everyone of all ages and race. Um, especially people in those bigger cities that might have been part of the chapters, like you never know who was involved with what, who knows how to organize what, because their breakfast program inspired the, United States free breakfast program for children that was in like the 70s or whatever. And like they actually got shit done. So just talk to people, talk to your neighbors. I know it seems hard even if you're in like a rural area, but like the people that you live next to are the people that you see the most, the people that are going to be closest to you if you need help, the people that are easiest to collaborate with. Yeah, that's just my input.
Hi, I'm Story. People also call me Fight because of my screen name and because if you see me on general, you know why. There's a project that I'm taking on about making our educational resources more accessible. Um, and as you're finding things through looking into other activist groups, which you absolutely should do, things that resonate with you, things that you find meaningful, things that change your mind or make you think in a new way. Um, can you drop them in the accessibility renovations channel or the GSUS wiki channel? They're both projects, threads and projects. Um, I'm trying to organize uh, educational resources that are searchable, um, that anyone can reference or utilize or add to, because I think this is so important. People have done facets of what we're trying to do with less for centuries. And the more I learn about other resistance movements and what caused them and what evoked them, the more I've been able to become aware of my own privileges and be grateful for the work that's been done by people in the past so that I could have some of the things that, we don't realize. Growing up, I was born in 1988. I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, and I always had clean air and clean water and before the Clean Air Act that mostly affected New York City, uh, Clean Air and Water Act, I believe it was, there was terrible pollution here, and there's still terrible pollution in the Midwest and the West Coast, and in different ways along the East Coast too, and it's I don't know where I'm rambling now, but what I'm saying is like the more you learn about this stuff, the more grateful you become, the more aware of your privileges you become, the more aware of the work that went into making you as safe and as comfortable as you are today. Like I am a disabled person, I am a trans person, um, but like being white and in Massachusetts and well educated with clean water and all these things you don't think about until you think about them, it changes how you interact with a community. And once you get to this point, it sort of becomes much easier to just be like kind of, I'm trying to remember who to attribute it to, but it's we're not free until we're all free, right? There is um anyway, I personally think letting go of comfort for the sake of liberation is necessary, and like a lot of what we're talking about, it will be uncomfortable, in the very least as growing pains. Like, even if all your needs are met, changing your habits is hard. Changing comfort, like changing how you do things is an there's an adaptation period at the best, in the best circumstances. And that's hard. We're asking a lot. But like, we're also not demanding everyone give up everything. We're trying to make this accessible. We're trying to make sure that people with disabilities that need their medication don't lack that in whatever process we're going through at any point. We don't want
I just
anyone to
oh,
get hurt. Yeah, go ahead.
I
I don't
just
know.
want to sorry.
Yeah, take it over. I'm
I,
sort of losing the plot, but I think I made my point.
I just want to bring it back to like accessible education or whatever. I don't want to like self-promote or anything, but I'm still working on like creating a Google Drive that has like PDFs of primary sources, like historical documents and stuff. I have a lot of stuff up from like what you classify as like American History 1 in a class. It's like mainly pre-Civil War documents, a lot of Revolutionary War letters and like just shit that historical figures wrote and thought about. And then I really don't want to self-promote, but I'm trying to make videos that are like shorter history lessons that are like easy to follow along, and I'm doing like all the like research and stuff and putting it all in one place for people. So if you guys have the opportunity to also do that on your own, even if it's just not like even public, even if it's just for like your family and stuff, just remember time is like the most valuable resource we have. Again, most working class people in America do not have the time or the energy to go out of their way and look at these primary sources and analyze them and write a paper and blah blah blah. So I don't know. I feel like the best way to make education accessible is to try and I don't want to say I don't know how to word it better than like gather the resources for people and give them a single place to kind of find them.
No, that's exactly it. It's like that's why I'm building the wiki. And with your permission or contribution, like feel free to link relevant, educational summaries with sources on the wiki and things like that. Like these can be there's no need to if you already did it and you did a good job and it's in line with our views, which I'm just going to go with, it probably is. Like, I think that I mean, with your permission, like self promote, and not only self promote, but like get embedded in. Like that sounds great. Why do it twice?
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead and if I can find the thread again, I can link just my Google Drive link to the accessibility thing because I have like a bunch of little subfolders and shit. The only one that's really fleshed out is like the primary source subfolder, and like the American history ones. And it's like so many PDFs. Like I'm gonna be honest, I stole half of them from my old professor's Canvas where he just uploaded all of them because it's like copyright free. um, but let me go ahead and grab that link real
Right,
quick,
free.
and then
If it's copyright free,
I
you didn't steal it. It's
oh
fine.
yeah, yeah. And then it's like not as long as it's a lot of history textbooks and stuff with the primary sources, as long as you're not just ripping all of them and publishing all of them in one place, then the authors usually don't mind and the publishers usually don't mind as long as I'm not profiting off of it, which I'm not. Any feds in the chat? I'm not.
Oh, no one's profiting here. This is just for community use and educational purposes. Like
Exactly.
there is no wink. That's true.
And then I want to make it like I guess collaborative where it's like verified people can contribute primary sources and shit or like educational links, which is like, in the same line as your thing, I guess.
I mean,
So,
that's what a wiki is. So like right
yeah.
now, I have it set up so that anyone that makes an account can like suggest discussion points and ads, but not actually change or add anything or delete anything. You have to be confirmed by the community to do that. But then like pretty much anyone that's coming through here, we can confirm and say that you can add stuff, and then it's just a matter of like we can talk wiki stuff later, but like if you don't mind, like we could catalog through that together at some point if you want to.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not joking when I say that it's like a lot of PDFs uploaded to the one document. I mean, the one folder. So, I mean,
I'm a nerd.
I
We're good. No, I'm not.
I
It's
mean, if
fine.
you're okay like transferring all that, then shit, go ahead, go crazy.
Well, I mean, we don't even have to transfer all of it. We can like go
Just
through
like
and
include
see
it
what's
there.
meaningful.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry to get off topic, but I love this.
Yeah, of course.
Going back to the idea of like, can we repeat the question? Like the thought provoking question that Day had. Where is that?
Yeah, I can it swim on about to grab it. It's up a little bit.
I just repasted it in the chat there.
Oh sweet, because I was just scrolling up. I'm like,
No, and
is it
then
not?
wait, one last self promo. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I did 2 short videos on Fred Hampton and then the Black Panther Party. They're just like a quick overview of like the beginnings and like the survival projects or the survival programs. Yeah. I don't know if they're good or not. Okay, I'm
Fight, were you trying to answer the question?
Oh, me? Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Um, I mean, yeah, obviously, I don't know. I think history is so important in just understanding the world in general, and I personally think that the government purposefully is defunding social studies and the arts so that people can't critically think or understand why this country is the way it is. So I
100%.
think, yeah, I think it's like beyond necessary. I think it's like the first step in, changing things is knowing what is going on.
I'll just probably just expand on that. So just looking at what the Panthers did, like if we're trying to hurt, our oppressors, if we're trying to, hit them or hurt their pockets and whatnot, we understand that that was what they feared. They feared the Rainbow Coalition. Us coming together, what Fred Hampton put together. They feared those survival programs. Those are actions that basically undermines them and makes them obsolete, irrelevant, and so on and so on. So just moving forward, a lot of what they were doing, they were jailed, they were unalive because of, they were the biggest threat. And so if we know that's what they fear, then moving forward, creating this interconnected system and things of that nature, taking actions that does not legitimate a corrupt system that's working as intended, it will get us a lot faster to the goal. It will help fortify our resistance, and that's what we want. We want to bring the fear of people back into it. The coalition building, the same thing. And if you look at the Panthers 10-point platform, is basically strike demands. It resonates with our current strike demands. None of those things haven't, came into being because, we've dropped the ball and, we've given our power back to our oppressors. We're just here to pick up where so many have left off, you know. Um, and as we understand, the system possibly won't be able to accommodate, and that's because it needs to be reconstructed and needs to change. And we are here to reconstruct it, for the people, by the people, and us creating these systems, these programs. That's creating the dual power needed in doing so and making them obsolete, and so on and so on. Even with the free breakfast program, now we have the food stamps and things of that nature. But that was never the intentions, that the Panthers had. A lot of these programs were always meant to be people led. The only thing the government did is, kill them off, jail them, and take their programs and make it, some profit driven, some crumbs thrown back at the community that we have no control over, that we can't, change, upgrade, this, that, or third. That was never the intentions for those programs. The Panthers always wanted, people-led programs. That's true power. True power is being able to identify our community's needs and by any means necessary, given the tools that we have, come up with the solution to meet those. That's practicing self-determination, collective sustainability, and so on and so on. Instead of waiting for these elected officials, these celebrities, and so on to solve them. These are strangers.
Yeah, just to expound upon that, when you give up those organizing to a state or any other power that doesn't organize it, it doesn't get its mandate from the people itself, like community, uh, bottom, bottom up. It can be taken from us, just like it's being co-opted and taken from us now. You have to constantly be fighting for and working towards your goals, because if we rely on these systems around us to do it for us, we don't actually have agency in the system itself, and we have to rely on all of the other systems that be to build up and actually protect our rights, even when they are being so boldly attacked in every moment.
I have to step out, but thank you so much for everyone's contribution here and getting to know some of the new people. I'll see you in the work. Bye.
I had a quick question. Does anyone know of a website that's like a deprogramming website? Like has news and articles compiled to like give some context to the current administration and the current issues? Like, has anyone run into that?
Oh,
I don't.
I'm just gonna pipe in real quick. I know that Substack, I'm not sure if I'm sure it's like a website, but it's an app as well. They have a lot of independent journalists and stuff. Like I know, Aaron Painez, he's on TikTok as well, but he's always covering the headlines and stuff. But I really like Substack for, just individual journalists and like reporting and stuff.
So Aaron Payne.
I can spell it
Right.
out in the chat. It's
Yeah.
like
I would
2 A's.
I would say there's two levels to that. There's definitely what's going on now in terms of just like what you're talking about, the administration, but there's also a deeper level of just societal deprogramming and evolving
Totally
seeds.
understand.
Who's been here a
Yeah.
lot in the past has very interesting websites, evolvingseeds.com, where it just goes over a whole lesson driven step-by-step deprogramming model for retraining ourselves how to actually think in a
Oh, I guess
supporting
to give some
human.
context. Yeah, to get some context, I'm thinking of like how to target people who are like MAGA, like almost off MAGA people. So like what like just showing them like instead of just showing them influencers that are like talking about it and like giving their context, but something that is like, all right, here are his executive orders, here's what's happening and whatnot, kind of thing. To make it like, I don't know, I think I'm trying to think of a way to outreach to more people that way. I figure like a deprogramming site with news that's easily digestible and not like clickbaity would be helpful. So that's why. So it says Aaron Payne or something like that. Page.
Yeah, it's Aaron Parnas, I think, not Paynas. I guess I've just been rereading it. I mean, misreading it every time I look at his thing. But let me try and find just like the Substack link for it so I can just give you like a direct one.
Okay.
And then there's also, I know there's a doctor on there. Where is my phone? But I know there's also doctors on there that like, the FDA has stopped like publicly announcing recalls. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
noticed that.
It's
But
terrifying.
there's also there's a doctor on there that's talking about that as well. I just like it for little news updates instead of trying to like slog through mainstream media or something.
I know,
So
dude.
it's so
Just
bad.
love. Like
Let
just having to keep up
me
with like 8 different platforms is it's exhausting.
Oh, thank you for dropping the link, and then I'll find the link to the other guy. It's actually, I'm just like, wow, they are really trying to just tire us out with all this.
Yep, shock doctrine, man.
Yep.
Um,
Yes, Dr. Rubin. Let me grab the link here. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's the one, he talks about the FDA recalls
oh,
and
Dr.
stuff.
Rubin, yeah, I love that guy. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I've been following him.
Oh,
He's
for
a
sure.
godsend, man.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all have any other recommendations for like Substack like creators and stuff, because it seems like I don't know, I really like the platform because it's not super algorithm based like TikTok, and it's like people posting on there don't really care about reach. They're just trying to put the content out there. And then there's also there's like creator subscriber chats or whatever where you can talk to like people in them about like these topics and stuff. So if you want like intelligent conversation outside this Discord, then just I don't know. Sometimes I hop in like the Aaron Parna's chat and there's like, just adults in there talking about shit.
Nice. What's it called? The other thing that I like to look at is Bluesky's alt.gov threads. It's a bunch of people that are in the government that are trying to give people updates as they can.
I'll
So
definitely have
it's
to
just
check
like,
that out.
yeah. It's like CDC, FDA, all of them. So it's a like an independent way of them to publish it without putting it on the site, which is great because like we need it.
Yeah, for sure. Cause oh my god, the censorship's just gonna get worse from here.
Yeah, like I don't think people understand just how hard it is to be that it's going to be to communicate and have these kind of spaces in like a couple months, right? Not even years, like
Yep.
a couple of months. It's going to be absolutely terrible. And we only have a couple months to really act. Is my perspective.
Yeah, I mean I do like TikTok for now because it's pretty much like the algorithm is so algorithmy that it doesn't really censor too much. It just like
Hmm.
suppresses certain things, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's really good for growth, obviously. But I wish that it would, stay out of the government's hands. But I don't know how long it's going to be able to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Insta's been a little sus lately too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of everything and anything decentralized, which I'll also plug that I just love transparent, open, collaborative, recordable, and broadcastable meetings because the audio itself is decentralized. So just decentralized everything. But decentralized communication systems are the foundation to any decentralized democracy and empowering people. So whether you're talking about App Protocol and Blue Sky or Mastodon, like we can set up additional servers where you control your own communications, your own data. There's no particular reason that it's going to be big. So it's kind of like, start with the 13, 25, 50 million people as like a core foundation of decentralized communication, and then like web or branch out or spoke out to the for-profit billionaire corporate social media from the decentralized models. I think would be a good starting point, but we definitely need to think bigger. I mean, even Discord can be bought and sold, right? So when you get to decentralized communications, nobody can buy it, nobody can sell it, nobody can control it. It's everywhere. And that's really the future of the people's communication across the world. Yeah, Jeff.
No, for sure. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times with social media and like communication and stuff, it's like people are more focused on just getting the message out there and all over the globe and the world and stuff. And the only issue with like decentralizing a lot of this stuff is that it's harder for people to find it unless they're actively looking for it. But if anyone creates like an app or a website or something that's in the similar vein to TikTok or Substack or all that, obviously just post it, promote it in here, talk about it, and I'll talk about it, I'll promote it. The more people that know about it, the more people will use it, hopefully. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a few more months until the general public realizes the shit we're in, and like
Be too
actually
late
stops
then.
using. What was that?
I think it'll be too late by then.
Oh no, 100%. So everyone's just gonna keep posting random shit on Instagram until then, but we can try. The ones here in the meeting, we know what's up and we can try.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all get it. I don't think it helps anything to point that out. Like, it's always going to be too late until we either get it done or we're all dead. So, like, we've been way past the breaking point for a long time.
I know, and it's like
Oh,
every time more extreme shit happens, I just expect, people to like say something about it or be like, "Oh wow, look at that," and then it's just like, la la la, goddamn bread and
yeah, well,
circuses.
breaking point, I guess, would be a new system of government, which is what Elon's trying to do.
That's not,
God.
well, I mean, maybe, but anything Elon is trying to do is not to the benefit of us.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, America is so big that the federal government in a lot of people's minds is just like an abstract concept, I guess. And so I truly I deadass think people's breaking point is just hunger, like not being able to buy food, like just literally like being hungry and not being able to buy enough food is going to be the breaking point for the general public, which kind of sucks.
Or someone they love, it
Oh
hitting them
yeah.
personally.
No, it's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be when they don't have entertainment on the internet anymore.
Yeah, which is why
Honestly.
I do and I don't want TikTok to get banned because I'm using it really well right now. But also those 10 hours when TikTok got banned, I don't know, guys, it was starting to feel like something would maybe happen because people couldn't just doom scroll.
True.
And then they
Yeah,
were
that's
able to keep
probably why
doom
he reinstated
scrolling.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
I'm
like,
just like,
oh, this is really pissing people off. I need to
yeah,
buy myself some time.
which is why they're trying to fucking, oh, excuse my French, which is why they're trying to, buy it and turn it into a government propaganda app. So
That also
That's one
coincided
of the
with
pillars.
a massive uptick of right-wing content on the platform too. If you have,
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I noticed on even YouTube, like I'm seeing more like ads and shit for right wing kind of propaganda stuff
Yep,
than
because
I
they're
ever
seeing the
saw
tides
before.
turn. Yeah. The market will
The
always respond
cultural
to what they think is palatable to the paying public.
Oh yeah, the cultural shift is crazy. I grew up in the Obama years, and
Mm-hmm.
then just I don't know. Ever since his first term, it's just been slowly shifting. And then I feel
Yeah,
like
people call it
2020
rage
kind
too.
of gave us it gave us that kind of I don't know. I personally got put into a little bit of a bubble with the early 2020s. That sounds so weird to say, where I'm
Huh.
just where I'm in my own little liberal, cultural world, and the right wing stuff hasn't taken over mainstream too much yet. And now it's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
We're coming up on the hour, you guys. I think we might end the meeting there, but I wanted to invite everyone to just drop in the chat. What are some of the most important things to you about this movement or demands that are really important to you, and what brought you here to this meeting today?
I was oh sorry, I'm hold on. I'm gonna actually, since no one's talking, I'm just gonna answer what someone asked me in chat. Were you speaking about the wiki? I was talking about it earlier with they left the call already. I forgot their username. But I was talking a little bit about the wiki with them, and also I have my own Google Drive thing where I have a bunch of primary source PDFs uploaded, a bunch of historical documents and stuff. Um, but I personally, I just like this Discord because it's a way to meet and talk to like-minded people. The general strike is a long time coming, but I believe the most important thing to do now is just educate ourselves, talk to people, build community, organize, yada yada. I'm just just saying the same shit that we've been talking about, would you mind connecting to chat about this? Yes, I would be very interested. Where? Let me mute now. Y'all can talk.
I think everyone's just responding in the chat.
Would this be a good spot, or should I drop it somewhere else? I want to drop the an invite for Majority Report Discord.
Yeah, if anybody has any related projects, things you want to share, resources, now would be a good time to drop it in the chat if you like.
I'm gonna send the link to just the primary source folder if that's all right. Just because
Definitely, yeah.
it's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and head out for now though. So good night everyone. Had fun talking to everybody. I'll
Good
probably
night.
chat later,
Good
but
night.
yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely send you a DM here in a second. But yeah, good night guys.
Peace. Yeah, you all are free to go. If you want to stay and chat, feel free to. But the meeting is pretty much wrapped up.
Nice.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Definitely down
Thank
to
you.
stick with the chat about any of these other ideas, and also we'll try to set something up for tomorrow for anyone wants to do like a crypto group or see how that all
There's protest tomorrow. Fuck, I can't get
Yeah,
the.
protest tomorrow. Stay safe,
Yeah,
guys.
everyone
Don't
protest.
start shit.
No.
Remember to mask
Don't
up.
start shit. Yeah,
Flu
mask
this
up.
year is pretty bad, apparently.
Yeah, the flu is pretty bad. It's not yet bird flu, but it's still
No.
pretty bad.
I didn't know humans could get bird flu.
Not yet.
They
It
can,
does.
but you like
It's
it's
not
kind
human
of
to
hard
human
to.
transmissible. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The people have been getting it from cats, or they've been getting it from like livestock or chickens, but
It's
it's not
also
human to
zoonotic.
human transmissible yet. That
Okay.
we've had like 2 cases in California and like several cases in like a bunch of other states. So it's getting there.
The normal flu, though, is the thing
No,
to
no, bird
look
flu.
out for. I know. There's two. There's
Yeah, yeah,
influenza and sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You up to anything fun tonight?
I lost my
68
job.
cases in the U.S. and then 1 death. That's what it's at.
Okay. But yeah, that shit mutates. That's what I hated about like all these like fucking anti-masking fucking peeps. Like it's like just like they can't understand like just basic concepts of things like mutating and changing and it's
Yeah.
anti-vaxxers. Fucking, I'm sorry. Am I allowed to
And
cuss
with the
on this?
measles coming back, like what the fuck,
I
man?
know. And I don't know.
Let's
Yeah.
see, 41 cases came from cattle, 23 from poultry, 1 from another animal exposure, and 3 from an unknown source. That's the breakdown.
Hmm.
But let's see, most of them are in California and Washington State.
That's also because of the fact that California does a lot
Reporting.
of well, that and ag. We have a
Yeah, yeah,
huge
yeah. Well,
ag
no, we feed
industry
like
there.
most of the country, other than corn.
Yep.
The Midwest has all the corn, but we feed everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd fucking see like a day like this in America, or taught like a.
Fascism.
Yeah, I mean, fascism's always been there, but like straight up Nazi salutes, like You know, like
Yeah.
that fucking really put me through a loop because I come from the era of all the fucking Red Scare and the I watched documents and documents and documents on the Holocaust and all that as a kid,
Yeah.
and then
So
the
I have a
feud.
video I can share about.
And then fucking the Zionists and are Nazis like dress up as Jews. Like
Don't
I
even
feel
get
like
me started on that bullshit.
I know,
Oh,
dude. Don't you feel like you're in some kind of really bad sci-fi movie or something? Like
it drives me up the fucking wall. I'll tell you that.
All of
all right,
them are getting their ideas from bad sci-fi, so it's not a surprise.
So, I was born in '88, and I spent my teenage years on the internet on 4chan, and I've known that this was coming since then.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I've been yelling for years about Nazis. Have you ever heard of Goyim TV?
No.
Absolutely,
I've been screaming about that for like I don't even know how long. And John Minadeo's previous other bullshit. Like there's this guy who uses this hybrid social media platform called Goyim TV to raise thousands of dollars for Nazi ideals every day.
See, that's like
yeah.
He
just
goes on.
you know what, that went under the radar. You know why? Because like my gen, because I was born like in the late 70s, we didn't have internet, and like so like we I mean we grew up on like AOL and shit, but like it didn't really pop off like until the early 2000s,
Yeah,
and by then we were already kind of like doing our own thing. Like
this new media wave is definitely changed the entire landscape. It's kind of the Wild West at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of what is happening is to try and keep it corpo owned and wild as like out of the
privatized as much as possible.
Mhm. As unregulated and as like yeah, it's not good. And the only people who, I mean, not the only people, but
Few
in those
responsible
spheres,
for themselves and absolute control over everyone else is what they want.
Yep.
Nazis.
Is anyone else familiar with the term or like recently heard of the term hypernormalization?
No, but that
Absolutely.
totally
Yep.
sounds like
Sounds
a
legit.
word. Yeah.
Sounds legit.
Well,
Yep.
it was used like it's coined as a documentary actually, and it's about like the end of the Soviet Empire or Soviet era and like how it was clear that things were falling apart around them, but nobody really had a vision of what would come next, and nobody could cope kind of with the idea of like letting go of what was. And so and so people have started to say we're kind of in a similar period now. Like this obviously doesn't work, but no one knows what's supposed to come next. I don't think any of us want like, well, I don't think enough of us at least want like Marxist, like Leninist kind of like old systems, that have been
No.
idealized in the past. Like I think we need something new. I'm not claiming I know what that is, but I think that's kind of to me that's kind of where we're at is like in this like which way do we go? How do we do this? What's next,
So I would definitely see that video that I posted because it's roughly what they're going for, a techno feudalism.
Oh, I did that. My DSA, I think. Well, I don't have a DSA yet. I need to open one. But
Techno-feudalism is what Elon is trying to do. I don't
Yeah.
think we want that.
No, we don't. And that's exactly what will happen because like he's already taking control of so many departments, and like the number one thing was like the treasury. It's like, bro, you don't want him to have anything near that. Like that, he controlling the purse. That's Congress's job. But
I'm sure
So-
everybody here knows this, but
yeah,
Doge has no authority. It's completely illegitimate. None of this should be happening.
yeah, he doesn't
But
have
then
authority over taking over the systems. They just
who's gonna
renamed
stop
the.
him?
Huh?
I said, who's gonna stop? I never thought about that. who's going to stop these people from just doing like this?
It's in
So
theory that
that's
we
the
don't have
thing.
security.
It comes
They
from the
don't want people to stop them.
Well,
yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
So the thing is, he's not. I mean, he wasn't confirmed. The department already existed. He just renamed the a department that Obama made to fix healthcare.gov. So his task was like to improve the systems or whatever, which is just taking over the same thing. So the department is technically legal. His position, not necessarily. Absolutely not his infiltration of any of the data that was on there.
But
Like
how do they stop that? Like who?
The
who
courts.
stops court? So courts,
So
if they listen to them,
If they listen to them. Exactly.
yeah, or
so
or
okay.
the people
I
taking
can
action
I
and
can
not
go down
giving
the
them
line.
The
consent.
question is, when are they going to stop?
Yeah,
They
Be
won't.
stopped.
They
I
won't. As
mean,
long
I
as
don't
there's
think.
not sufficient public opinion or public pressure, I don't think they will. I think they'll just lean over.
So there's I wouldn't
I try to have a
call
more
the
positive
courts or anything like that a
perspective.
monolith. Like there's going to be plenty of people who are fighting for this. The
Yes.
problem is that the federal courts themselves are
Mm.
compromised in a lot of ways, especially because a lot of the stuff is going to end up going to
Well, the
Supreme Court.
courts make rulings. The
Yes.
executive branch is the one that has to enforce it. The executive branch doesn't want to.
Mhm.
That's why I'm saying like it's not going to stop because the executive branch is saying, yeah, no, let him do what he wants.
The thing though is that if the courts say the executive branch can't do something, then that can be made to stop them from doing the thing. However, if they don't do that, if they don't let that happen, that's called a constitutional crisis, and that's when other options come into play, and none of them are good. All of them are pretty bad.
Yep. And
Here,
no one,
Do you
and
have any
everyone's playing chicken on that.
information on that?
here, I can get you. I
Yeah.
have a good article on this.
Oh, sweet. Thanks.
Um,
That sounds something like
yeah.
I want to really look into.
Yeah, it's something that you should be read on. Everyone
Okay.
should be read on it.
While you're doing that,
Absolutely.
Jay, the international networks, could you speak to that a little bit more?
Thank you.
Okay, so
it's a very good
I've been
part.
working on this. Obviously, the general concept on the international general strike is one that, the billionaire class doesn't end at the border, and it's like pop up a mole. Like if you try to get rid of all the billionaires in one country, the trillionaire corporations are multinational
Amen.
behemoths, almost worse than the billionaire class. So in the concept of a lot of our demands, if not a majority of the demands, they are global. If we really wanted to solve core problems of sustainability and just raping and pillaging the earth for the benefit of less than 3,000 people. So in that context, I am into open, transparent, democratic and, systems that are decentralized. So there can be no barrier to entry. So the minute I got involved in this program, I immediately was like, okay, I'm in California. I want to organize locally, but this needs to be fully decentralized and open to anybody across the world. Otherwise, it's not decentralized. So the website is generalstrike.global. And this is very, very preliminary. There's the Pound international group, right? So there's people who are interested, and the main step right now is just setting up all the different language servers, like the Discord servers in each language. It is a huge process. If anyone wants to help with that or schedule for that,
I
it would
have
be
been seeing that
Is there
for
a is there a channel for that?
yeah,
The
it's Pound
organization of that?
International. I just put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again. So the Pound
Sorry,
International channel is where we're talking about all that. And I just a week ago got the website sort of drafted. I've built it on all the decentralized organizing that I've been working on for decades, and basically it is just one version. We can make other versions. It's just, I list all the demands, all the other things in there. But either way, it's just a matter of like slowly decentralizing and getting other languages involved. Like, it's very preliminary, but you can go into every single language. There's like 150 languages that you can translate everything to with the click of a button. So that's sort of like
That's so
step one.
fantastic.
And then from there, it's a
You
matter
have
of
that built in already.
yeah, and then figuring out the decentralized
strike card, the direction I'm going with the strike card is that basically it's a local level thing. So every country will have their own version of a strike card. Every community might have a different one. And really, we want security to be of the utmost concern. So having a database of people all across the world, 3.5% of the global population is going to be 300 million people. So if we get 300 million people to 400 million people across the entire world, we don't necessarily want a single list. The list should be everywhere. Everybody should have different parts of it. And so the idea of the strike card is that
let's set this up.
Organizations or entire
let's do some final talks. We're just yapping about some great stuff here. Let us see. Okay, let's blow me up. Okay, bad choice of words. The General Strike US is generally a left-leaning organization. We are violently anti-capitalist, and it is a grassroots organization. We are ground up organizing. We organize horizontally, as I mentioned sociocracy at the beginning of the meeting, but we are violently anti-capitalist. We do not seek the reform of capitalism. We do not seek the reform of any institution that causes oppression for any marginalized, for any categorized group. General Strike US is an organization that fights for the people, with the people, by the people. We do not advocate for any sort of any collaboration with the system, collaboration with any oppressive, functions or organizations that may exist. We do not do any of that. We are a peer-to-peer, hand-in-hand, people-by-people organization working for and by the people. So the conversations you're hearing now is just a natural outcoming of individuals' backgrounds, right? So our liberals, of course, capital reforming, not recognizing communism, all of these, various backgrounds and conjectures, right? All are materialized, right, through their experiences at which they have been exposed to. So what does this mean? General Strike US is an open, decentralized organization, right? Even though liberals are in this space, right, I want to say they were infiltrated. Our projects and our initiatives, our message to the core is left-leaning. I would even go to say it is communist. But besides the labeling here, this is a left-leaning organization, violently anti-capitalist. We are not here to reform any such system that is, oppressive. We are here to build upon a smashed state. Smash it to bits. Smash all of this, oppressive system and hierarchy to bits in the ways that the bourgeois have been identified and defined as in our shared material condition. So the General Strike US is a left-leaning, violently anti-capitalist organization. We, of course, have these meetings to express ourselves and have our voices heard and our ideas shared and whatnot and so forth and, all that great stuff. So we have these conversations open and out, as I've just heard in my ear, having people's voices heard, right? So that's what we do here, having these meetings. Wednesdays, we do delve into Marxist discussions, right? There was some talking points that I was not fond of, but that's not the point of these meetings. The point of these meetings is to have people express themselves, welcome them into the organization, have people be radicalized through the material and through the structures and systems that we have in place. Right? So this is an in. Same thing with protests. Protests are a way in. Strikes are a way in. They're not the tool. They're not the resource that will help people get liberated from their oppressive working conditions, from their oppressive living conditions, from the oppressive forces and social constructs that we are, imbued by society. These tools, right? Striking, strikes, and all of these, these boycotting and traditionally thinking that, these things are ways out of capitalism. No, these are ways in, not into capitalism. These are ways in to this liberation mindset and where we can redirect that energy, right, from boycotting, striking, and, protesting, going into actually building community, getting into time banks, getting into your local, farms and gardens and whatnot that your actual local growers are hand in hand laboring themselves, right? Of course, we are much more than our labor. We are human beings and people, but we all fall within that class, right? We all fall within that human class, and of course, we're all humans. We all say that we're human, but of course, understanding the relationship by which we have with our material condition, we are much more than our just labor and our humans. We are much more than everything that, people say that we are. The culmination of which and such. However, it is important to recognize these such classes and conditions at which exist so that we can maintain and build solidarity against the forces that oppress us. and then thereafter we oppress upon other people unknowingly and unwillingly in some cases, right? The ability to recognize that some people's positions are just inherently better because of the material conditions and how the way they are rearranged or the way they are set up in structures and systems and the way that our mode of production has allowed to do so. So ending with this, it's been about 2 hours. Thank you so much for joining us. The conversation has been yapping about some other stuff. I'm trying to have a hard time hearing, but the conversation is still going. Please join us in the Discord so that we can have more of these conversations, right? We are a left-leaning organization. No, anything about the general strike is right-leaning. We are no such way pro-capital of any sort or situation. We are pro-liberation of all oppressed classes, as you can see, the imprisoned class, of course, the disenfranchised, the LGBTQIA+, right? All of our identities and such intersectionalities, we advocate for the liberation of, from the white, oppressive, supremic, capitalist, imperial, colonizing, imperial, all this, adjectives you want to use for your oppressive, competitive systems. We are against it. So, I am Jaden. I organize with the GSUS Bay Area chapter, of course, among the larger national stage as well. I do the zines and stuff and trying to get some other projects going so that we can help fundraise this opportunity. So, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you, comrades, either in the next meeting on Sundays, Wednesdays, maybe out on the street. With that, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Thank you, comrades.
In different life and things like that.